you have to go present something. Okay, so that is your stressor. Now, because of this stressor, you will first see that stressor and you have to appraise it. So that means you will have to assess or you will have to evaluate if this stressor is a challenge or a threat. Right? So let's say I have to go present or I have to go do a seminar or I will have to go do some talk in the stage. Okay. So now what the way I'm seeing it, okay, if is it I'm going to see it as a challenge or I'm going to see it as a threat, something that's going to cause danger to me or something that's going to humiliate me, something like that if I'm going to think, or if I'm going to think of it like a challenge or something like I have to go inspire people, right? So something like that. So based on this appraisal that we go through, we will go to the next step. Okay, so if you see it as a challenge, what you will do? You will obviously go and present it, or you will go and talk about it in the stage, right? But if you see it as a threat, as a negative one, that's when you will do secondary appraisal. Okay, so that is where you will do another set of appraisal, another set of evaluation. So this is where you will see whether this threat that you are going through, right? So is it effective or ineffective? So that means now we are going through a threat, we are going through a fear. Okay, so now you are saying, okay, I am going to go through a fear, but because I'm going to go through this fear, is it going to help me or is it going to uh, uh, cause some damage to me? Now you see it and say that this is going to be effective. This task that I'm going to do is going to be effective anyway, because if I go and present it or if I go and talk in the stage, that is going to give some good to me, right? So if I think like that, then I will appraise it as something that is lower in threat, right? So when I appraise it like that, I will go and talk at the stage. But if I still appraise it as something that is going to be in high threat, or I'm still seeing as something that is negative, then I might not go and do the talk in the stage, right? So that is your cognitive appraisal theory. So first you have a stimuli. So in that stimuli, you are doing a primary appraisal. So that is your first step of evaluation that you are going to do. So what the evaluation is mainly whether it's a challenge or it's a threat. That is what you're going to mainly focus on. So if you see it as a challenge, what you will do, you will further go about it, or you will go to the next step and you will do that task. Okay, but if you see it as a threat, then you will go through another set of evaluation, which is your secondary appraisal. Okay, so this is where you will see whether it's going to be effective or ineffective. Whatever the task that you are going to do, is it going to be effective or is it going to be ineffective? Now, when you see it as effective, right, so you obviously are going to perceive it as low threat. So if you're going to perceive it as low threat, what you will do? You will do that task. If you're going to still you're going to perceive it as high threat, anxious, fearful, then what you will do? You will not do that task. So that is this theory mainly talking about. So this theory mainly says that your evaluation or your problem solving ability or your critical thinking ability is only making the individual to choose what they have to do, and it's nothing to do with the physiology or what else that we saw. Whatever that we saw, it is nothing to do with that, but your evaluation or whatever that you comprehend from that situation. Based on that only, you go through a certain emotion, right? So that is your cognitive appraisal theory. Now, after this, we have another theory, which is facial feedback theory. Okay, so this theory is very simple. This is apart from all the other theories we have studied. So this theory mainly talks about, the name itself says, the facial feedback, whatever that you see, whatever that you observe from another individual. Okay, let's say I'm going to smile at you. When I smile at you, obviously, automatically, you will smile back at me. So that we will call it as something called social smile. Right? So when I smile at you, when I smile at a stranger or smile at a person that I see every day, even though I didn't talk with them, I smile at them, they smile back at me eventually. right? So that is your facial feedback theory. So this you can also see with your close individuals or also in a certain situation. So let's say you're being very nervous, right? And you have to attend an interview. You're being very nervous, and you're going to that place. You're seeing that panel over there, and the interviewee, the individuals are sitting over there, and you see them. The first thing that you see is they give you a warm smile. Okay, when they give you a warm smile or they appreciate you, when you come and sit and when you talk for the first question itself, when you talk nice, they appreciate you or they smile at you or they encourage you. Something in their facial expression is something that is encouraging you. You'll automatically feel lighter. You'll automatically feel happier. Right? Automatically your fear will go down. Right, so that is your facial feedback theory mainly talking about. So this picture also says, so the patient, so if you see most positive emotions, if you see the patient feels better. So if you see the patient first, he looks happier. Okay, now because of that, the patient is feeling better, and others also respond more favorably in situations. So this picture is mainly about, let's say, people having some certain kind of physical illness or mental illness. Okay, for them, if you see, like, let's say I am already going through some tough situation. Okay, and I think I should just smile. Or we do a lot of therapy, right? This laughter therapy and all we do. Right. So this laughter therapy, if you all have heard about it or experienced it, it's it's actually a fake laugh, but your brain or your body does not or it will not be able to distinguish between a fake laugh and a real laugh. Okay, so when you do a fake laugh, your brain automatically perceives like you are laughing. It's not fake or real, it will not perceive it like that. You are laughing. And because of that, it will give certain other physiological reactions in your body. So that is why laughter therapy and all is very much called for when you go through stress or when you go through certain sadness. Mostly they tell, they give laughter therapy. They make the individual laugh even though they don't want to. So that is the same thing it is given here in the picture. The patient trying to smile, okay, or they try to look happier, and because of that, what is happening? The patient is feeling better. That means their physiological reaction is also giving something that is aligning with the reaction that they are giving to their face. And because of that, there are people around them. They see this individual and they also become happy. You understand? Who is sending shots, YouTube shots?
Ma'am, it's me, ma'am, and that's neuroscientist Chopra's thing, ma'am. The
Okay.
exact words what you used to explain the mind's ability, ma'am, to
Yeah.
understand if it is like I mean the actual or it is actually the fake one, ma'am. So I thought it might
Okay.
help, and so that's the reason, ma'am. Just maybe if you can just allow for it will be less than 30 seconds, but it will be absolutely useful for the team, ma'am.
Um.
Or we will watch it later. I mean, how
Yeah,
will it
you
be?
can watch it. Yeah, you can
Yeah, this is
watch
the
it.
exact word what you used, ma'am. That's the exact word what you used to for the, laughter therapy, ma'am.
Oh, the laughter
Mine doesn't.
therapy.
Yeah, it's a laughter
Okay.
therapy. What you are actually now said for
Right.
facial feedback.
Right.
So this is
Right.
something
Right.
which like the neuroscientist actually has actually found. So
Okay.
I thought that might help our fellow friends.
Yeah. So, fellow classmates, you can watch it later. Uh,
Okay, ma'am.
yeah, you can all watch it later after the class is over. Yes.
Yeah,
So
maybe
this
during
is,
the break they can do that. Thank you,
yeah,
ma'am. Thank
they
you.
can. Yes. So
Sorry, ma'am.
this, yes, no issues. I like the way you actually connected it with the individual and you tried sharing it with the class so that they also know about it. Thank you for sharing. But others, you can all watch it after the class, or if it's just 30 seconds, you can watch and come. No issues. So I was just curious why suddenly somebody is sharing a YouTube shorts. Just that. So
No,
yeah,
ma'am, it is very small
yeah.
one, but the same words.
Yes,
What you
yes,
said, I
yes,
mean, absolutely it was matching. 99%
yes.
it was almost similar. So I thought, I mean, because I follow that regularly and I actually,
Okay.
have it in my
Mm,
mind for fake thing.
mm,
In
mm.
the film also it comes, no, ma'am, all is well, all is
Yeah,
well. Like,
yeah,
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 that
yeah.
I'm
Mm.
trying to say nothing is, agitating here, nothing is actually going against you,
Yes.
everything is in control, kind of thing. You're
Yes.
trying to put it to your brain, like fake.
Yes. Yes. That is the same thing this theory also talks about.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for the
Yes.
understanding.
Yes.
Good.
Yes. So these are the different theories that we talked about in emotions. So one is your evolutionary theory, and then your James Lange theory, Cannon-Barth theory, Scatcher-Singer theory, cognitive appraisal theory, and then the facial feedback theory. Okay, so next, with this we finish the emotion part. Okay, so we go to the next part of this unit, which is stress and coping styles. Okay, so we all go through stress, right? So this going through the stress, it's not always negative. It's not like when you go through stress, it's always negative. You shouldn't go through stress. It's not like that. Okay, so stress is something that is necessary, but when it goes beyond the level, then it might cause certain distress or some disturbing or something that is going to disrupt your um, physiology. Okay, so for that only we have certain coping styles or therapy or anything that we have is to control that stress which is going beyond the necessary level. Okay, so we have like two types of stress. One we call it as eustress, okay, and another one is chronic stress. Okay, so if you see, eustress is nothing but the good stress. Okay, so we all have to have a certain level of stress. If we do not have stress, then what we will become is we will become somebody who is very lazy, will not want to do anything in our life, will not have any motivation in our life, will not have any goals in our life. So, right? So, we should at least have a certain level of stress. But when that stress moves from that level to something that is beyond that, something that is very higher, that is when we will go through chronic stress. And only when we go through chronic stress, our bodily reactions or whatever the mind, the mental reactions that we give, all of that is going to disrupt our lifestyle. Okay, so now this coping style is also for those chronic stress levels and not for the new stress or the good amount of stress level that we all have. Okay, so we will see what is coping. So, coping refers to the conscious efforts to solve the problems and minimize the stress. It's not an unconscious one. We also have certain other unconscious coping mechanisms. We also call it as defense mechanisms. Okay, we also have that, but we are not talking about it here. So, if you see this unconscious defense mechanisms, mainly displacement, projection. So, it's like you have anger or you're already stressed, right? You went to your office and your boss yells at you, right? And because of that, you are already in anger, you're agitated, right? You come home and then you see your children, right? And then your children, being very energetic, they come and play with you, and you're not able to tolerate it. And what you will do, you will shout them. So that is like a displacement that you have done, right? So that is unconsciously done. It's not consciously done. So those all of that is not a coping mechanism, and they are called as defense mechanisms. Okay, that's always unconscious. But coping, if you see, there is also certain other coping styles that are consciously done. Consciously, we put an effort to minimize that stress. Okay, so the coping strategies can be classified into different types. One is your problem focused, emotion focused, appraisal focused strategies. Right. So all of this we will see one by one what are different. So the different types of coping strategies that one will try to follow. Okay, one is appraisal focused, adaptive cognitive recall. So these strategies are directed towards challenging personal assumptions. So this is where whatever that we think, that is where the critical thinking aspect. comes in. Okay, whatever the perspective that we have or the assumptions that we have certain things, we would try to think about it and we would try to challenge it. That means we would try to brainstorm ourselves. Okay, so for all of that, appraisal focused type of coping strategy can be used. And another type is your problem focused adaptive behavior. So these strategies aim to reduce or eliminate the stressors. So this is where this is nothing to do with your the way you think about certain things. It's about a problem that is occurring there. Okay, you are able to see that you are in a certain issue, and when you are in a certain issue, what you can do to alleviate it or to eliminate it. Okay, so when you focus on that, it's called as problem focused, and problem focused are mainly behavioral only. So that means whatever that you can do instead of thinking. If you are going to think and think about it, nothing can be changed, right? So you have to go do something about it. So that is why problem focused are adaptive behavioral, right? And then we have another type of coping strategy, which is emotion focused. So these strategies focus on changing the personal emotional reaction. So whatever the theories that we have seen so far, the emotional theories that we have seen so far, if you see, like you are going through anxiety because you did not want to talk on the stage. So how would you like to change it? You would like to see the positive aspects of it. Why are you given this opportunity to talk on the stage? What are the benefits of it? When you see it like that, you can change your emotions, right? And because of that, you can reduce your stress aspect. So that is your emotion focused viewpoint, changing your personal emotional reaction. Or also if you are going to have a downfall, let's say a failure, right? You failed in an exam, and you see that obviously you will be sad, right? So when you are sad, you can be for a certain amount of time, but then when it exceeds only, that's when we have this bad stress, chronic stress and all that. So when it exceeds, instead of being in that emotion itself, you can tell yourself, or you can try telling yourself or showing yourself how it's actually helping you to do better, how it's actually helping you to learn certain other things, to know that these are the things that you shouldn't be doing later. So all of that will help you change your emotion aspect, right? So that will make you become more optimistic about a certain situation. Right. So for that, we will use emotion focused strategies, and then occupation focused. So these strategies are directed towards lasting occupations that generate positive feedback. So occupation is nothing but your vocational aspects. Okay, so occupational focus. So that means whatever that occasional or whatever the career wise, whatever that you do, when you or whatever actions that you do, when you get a feedback or a positive feedback about it or some kind of incentive for it, that will also help you change your stress level. That is your occupation focus. So strategies one can use. And next is your Folkman and Lazarus. They identify specific strategies within the problem focused and emotion focused category. So we discussed problem focused and emotion focused, right? So problem focused is mainly behavioral. That means you have to do something about it so that you can change. And then your emotion is to changing your emotion. Okay, so what are the strategies each of this will have? So one is your problem focused strategy will include taking control, trying to take control of that situation instead of letting it be. So when you take responsibility or when you try to take control of it, you would want to change something about it, right? So that is one strategy you can use. And also information seeking. Instead of sitting with the problem, instead of thinking, okay, I can't do anything about it, you can try seeking information outside that are going to contradict it or that are going to pave way for you to do something else. Right? So that is your information seeking strategy. And then evaluating the pros and cons. So when you are in a situation, you obviously all situation has its own advantages and disadvantages. So when you are in this situation, you try to see what are the advantages that you have for this situation. When you do this, what are the advantages? And when you do not do this, what are the disadvantages? Right? When you evaluate it, when you weigh that down, you will be able to understand whether you can do this or not, whether you can take this action or not. Right? So all of this will be your problem focused strategies. And then we have your emotion focused strategies. So if you see emotion focused strategies mainly involves disclaiming responsibility or blaming, exercising self-control, positive reappraisal. So disclaiming is nothing but um, refusing something, let's say, or denying something, or saying no to something, or trying to not wanting to accept something. Okay, so it says that you are a failure, right? When they tell you that you are a failure, you don't take it and you defend it. You tell that no, I can't be a failure just because this situation occurs. One thing happens just because I failed in one exam, I cannot be a failure. So when you defend it like that, you will be able to change it, right? And then avoidance. So most of the time, this is also something that's negative, right? But also this is one type of strategy that you can use, escape avoidance. Instead of getting trapped in that emotion, you can try to divert yourself, right? Instead of um, after going through a failure, instead of sitting with it for a long time, you just go do something else, divert yourself, go for a walk, talk with your friend. Right? So all of this is your escape avoidance, so that you can also move on, right? And then you're accepting responsibility or blame. This is also one thing. If diverting or distracting yourself is one thing, accepting is also one thing. So if you see, there is a paradox. If you all have heard, I'm not sure. There's a paradox. Only if I accept a certain thing, I will be able to change it. So, without you accepting a certain emotion, without you accepting that this situation had occurred, you will not be able to change about it, right? So, accepting responsibility. So, you have failed in this exam. You have to take the responsibility of telling that yes, I did not put my effort, or whatever effort that I put did not was not enough, right? So, when you accept something like that, instead of blaming the teacher, or instead of blaming the question paper, or instead of blaming the surroundings around you, when you accept it, what you will be able to do, you will be able to change something about it. Okay, so that is accepting responsibility or blame. And then exercising self control. That is also important. So, self control is also with your emotions. So, whatever that emotion that you have, instead of trying to let it just flow, you have to have some self control so that you can also change. You see certain things, even though it's going to be a negative, even though it was negative, how you learn from it and how you see it optimistically further. So that is your positive reappraisal. So all of this can also help you uh, get out of the stress. So these are the different strategies that you use for problem-focused strategies. Problem-focused coping, and also your emotion-focused coping mechanism. Okay. So we will see next is the physical basis of stress. So as we all know, the first slide I summarized, right? I talked about sympathetic nervous system, parasympathetic. So as you all know, stress is the body's response to certain situation, right? So it's subjective, meaning what's stressful for one person may not be for another, right? And it can be positive and negative, helping in emergencies or meeting deadlines, but too much can be harmful. So as I said, there are like different types of stress, stress, chronic stress, right? So how you go through it, all of that can also how you try to move away from it. All of that will impact your physiology, or how you try to deal with it, right? So if you see the physiological basis of stress, there are like different parts in your body that plays an important role. One is your central nervous and endocrine system. Okay, so central nervous system. So as I said, there is a part in your brain called thalamus, and beside that there is a part. Okay, so this hypothalamus only initiates the stress response, leading to the release of stress hormone. So a famous stress hormone, always you need to remember stress hormone means cortisol. Okay, so cortisol is like the important stress hormone, and then also adrenaline. So these two stress hormones will be released from the hypothalamus. Okay, this is your endocrine system and your central nervous system playing an important role, and then your respiratory and cardiovascular system. So stress causes faster breathing, increased heart rate, which can lead to high blood pressure if chronic. So as I said, we talked about the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, right? So when we are alert, when we are aroused, that will make the individual to experience faster heartbeat or anything that associates anything, any of your body response that associates with the alertness. So you're increasing heartbeat, increasing breathing rate, increase in sweat, increase in or decrease in digestion, right? So all of this, or decrease in salivation, decrease in hunger, all of that is also somewhere relating, right? So that is what we see next, which is your digestive system. So when we are stressed, mostly we do not feel hungry. Okay. So stressed, or when you are going through a chronic situation, we will never feel hungry. That's because you are right. So during that time, your body should not work further, so that all the energy will go there. You understand? Like you are already in an alert situation where you have to do a lot of work. And for that situation only, you will be needing a lot of energy. So for that, your body stops every other mechanism that it can stop, right? That it can stop, which doesn't make it fatal, right? So all of those mechanisms, your body will stop, so that those energy you can gain and you can do further about that situation. And you see how wonderful it is, your body helping you to deal with the stress without your knowledge, right? So that is one thing. And then your muscular system. So muscles tense up under stress, which can lead to headaches and also body aches. So because you are in stress, you have to be in an alert space. If you have to run from that place, right, or you have to do something that, all of that actions, your muscles plays an important role, right? So for that, your muscles always have to be contracted. But if it is going to be for a longer time, like this chronic stress, that will only cause further these negative aspects. One is your headache, your bodily aches that you go through, this lower back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, right? All of that is because of this muscle tense that you have, because of this chronic stress that we go through. Okay, and then sexuality and reproductive system. So chronic stress can affect the sexual desire and reproductive functions in both men and women, right? So when especially women, when they are stressed, they will not be able to be active sexually. Okay, so that's, if you see the vaginal part, that will not be in a relaxed state, and because of that they will not be able to be sexually active. So that is also impacting your reproductive system. So reproductive system also, because of the stress, you can see a lot of people, a lot of individuals nowadays going through PCOS, PCOD conditions, right? So all of that is because of this stress, chronic stress, or this daily life stress that they go through heavily. Because of that, this can also be disrupted. Okay, and then your immune system. So stress can stimulate the immune system short term. Chronic stress weakens it over time. So that's what I said, right? Actually, your body will try to help you to deal with the situation, or will try to help you cope up with the stress. But when it's going to be higher or longer, or being for a longer time, that's when your immune system weakens. So that is why most of the time, if you see, when you have an exam, important exam coming around, suddenly you will feel ill, you will get fever, right? So all of that happens because your immune system weakened because of that so much stress that you're going through. Your immune system is not able to tolerate it fully, so it just gives up, right? So that is also another part of your body. So this is your physiological basis of stress. One is your central nervous system and endocrine system, respiratory system, cardiovascular system, digestive system, muscular, sexuality, and then your immune system playing an important role. And then psychosocial basis of stress. So we saw about the psychological aspects, cognitive aspects, physiological aspects. Now we get into the next part, which is psychosocial. So the social aspects or the lifestyles that we go through or the interactions that we have around with the people, all of that can also lead to stress. So that is what the psychosocial stress arises from our social interactions and can be particularly taxing. Okay, so it can be triggered by perceived threats to our social status, self-worth, or situations we feel we can't control. So, if you have studied social psychology, or if you have known about this dynamics in the society, most of the stress is the societal standards, right? So that can also manifest further with your health or with your bodily aspects. Okay, so the body responds to psychosocial stress by releasing stress hormones, which can be helpful in short term but damaging in the long term. As we discussed, going to lead further illness or mental illness, right? Physical illness, all of that is because of the long term stress and individual forces. Okay, so we get into facial expression. Next topic, facial expression. So, so they are like they only tell what emotion an individual is going through. Without we, if we don't